Hi, Matt from Modern Samurai here again, and today we're going to be talking about incorporating different striking styles together, so say boxing and karate. Now, before we get into that, guys, I'd like you to subscribe, click the bell notification, leave us a comment about anything you'd like to see or how you feel about this, what you can add to it. So the whole point of me putting these videos out, the whole point of me doing this is because I want it to create conversations. I want people to look outside of what they normally do and try and incorporate some other things and just bring things together, yeah? We're all on a journey, we're all learning, we're all students no matter where we are, and part of that journey is to be able to learn new things and open our eyes to a wider world. Now, what we're talking about then is not dismissing fundamentals, not getting rid of things that we already know and are good at, but adding some things onto that that are going to complement. So when I talk about putting things together, I don't mean dismiss one thing because this is better or that's better. I don't mean that at all. What I mean is incorporating what you already know, adding bits onto it that may or may not suit you. If it doesn't suit you, fine, don't do it. If it does suit you, great, bring it into the fold, use it, make it your own. Now, so from here, look, we're going to do a couple of basic things. Now, I've got my little freestanding bag up here, so I'm not going to be doing these with power. This is about technique. So I'll move on to the power side of it by using the heavy bags, by using pads, so on and so forth. For now, I'm just talking through some of the techniques so that hopefully, if you like the idea of these, you can then sort of practice them yourself. Now, we're going to take a couple of very basic movements out of karate with regards to striking. Okay, now we're going to shift them a little bit, but again, it's up to you to play with them to make it work for you. Bear in mind, you know, I'm 6'2", on the size that I am. I move different to how you move, and you'll move different to how somebody else moves. So it's whatever works for you. Now, what we're going to look at is a couple of fundamentals. Now, we're going to look at a very basic moving forward backhand straight punch Junzuki, however you want to call it, okay? Now, if we look at doing that in a very traditional sense, and we think about our step forward, and we think about this kind of movement here, we're going to take away this aspect of it, and we're actually going to bring it back to more of a boxer's stance. So if we think about a boxer's kind of stance here, that kind of guard, rather than being in this kind of position, then that's really what we're looking at here. So as I step into that Junzuki, I'm going to go 1, see the hands actually now come back to that boxer's position, and I'm now going to use that to throw the hook here. So if we do that on the bag, what you'll see is I'm out of distance, I can be in whatever stance I like, I can be in whatever kind of movement that I want to have, whatever suits. So from here I'm coming in, bending the knees, dropping into that punch here. Now from here, I'm twisting into a hook, bringing my knees back up, twisting in, boom, hook here. Or I can come in with a body hook. So again, look, I can come in here, boom, and then use it here for that body hook. So just some things to play with regards to putting a hook on the end. Now, as we talked about in previous videos, when we're looking at hooks, they're a really, really good punch to learn. And if you don't have them in your system, then it might be worth going outside of that just to pick up these particular skill sets, because you may or may not want to embed them in what you do, but you're definitely going to want to learn how to defend them correctly. And to do that, you kind of do know you do have to know how they actually work, the mechanics, okay? So, that position again then, we're stepping in here, dropping down here, this comes up to that boxer's guard position, and then I throw the hook here or here. Okay, that's the first part on this. The second little one we're going to do is just a basic step through jab, Junzuki, okay? So again, if I'm in my position here and I step through, boom, here, and we look at that. Now, when we often look at peer work, when we see a lot of people translating this, it's very wooden, it's very static, it's very controlled, and that's where a lot of the criticism comes from. However, a good step through jab is actually a really, really helpful thing and a really powerful tool when done right. So as I come in, I'm just flicking out that jab, okay? So from my position, step through Junzuki or jab, here. Now from this position, I'm going to go again into a boxer's stance and straight into a boxer's cross. So from here, look, 1, 2. See, I cover ground quickly, very powerful, and it lines up a really good shot. Now, when I'm throwing the cross, I'm not staying linear, I'm not staying straight on, I'm actually coming slightly off to the side. So here, look, if I follow the line of the mat, from my position, step through jab. Now what I'm actually doing is stepping slightly out into one side, boom, to put the cross down that line, see? Jab here, step across, cross down that line. Now, again, when we look at that at a bit of pace, what we've got here is, again, we can go boxer stance, we can go points fighting, whatever you like. Step through, 1, 2, here. Very straightforward movement, but a great one to cover ground. Okay, so now, when we look at that again, what we're aiming for is to hit point to chin here as an example. And so my jab landing place, where the jab lands, the cross is going to take the exact same space. Bear in mind when you're doing this on pads and things, and you've got pads out like this, it's not the same space. They're a couple of feet apart. So just something to play with. Okay, now, we're looking at basic movement. So the next one we're going to look at is just a basic moving forward. So if you watch the feet here, now what I'm actually doing again is pushing off the back foot, pushing 1, pushing 2. So again, basic footwork, nothing overly complicated. And again, I'm just going to go into a jab cross with that and maybe a hook to finish. So again, if we look at range here, now what this does is it brings me in nice and tight to the person. Now from here, then I can look at body shots. I can look at short hooks. That range is great then because it brings me inside the other person. Obviously, if the other person's moving and they move away, it's different, but it brings you in. So here, 1, 2, straight forward, back here, on here. Okay, whatever it is you want to do. Okay, so we're just looking at some basic karate type concept movements and putting them into a slightly different version by adding some boxing type punches and positioning. Now, if we look again now at you reckon back fist, okay? Again, it's points fighting all day long. Now, when we used to do a lot of Wado style competition, very free flowing, very fast moving, a lot of reflexive action. That back fist was a really great one, and we'd use that a lot. And so from here, just that flicking that out. And again, when you're looking at points competition, kickboxing, that kind of thing, again, really well used technique. Now it can be a great one to set things up. So again, what I'm looking at here is I'm literally going to use it like I would a jab. So instead of jabbing here, I'm going to come in here like this, loose. Now I can use it to pull through somebody's guard, pull their guard down and out the way, connect through the line, or I can use it as a impact tool itself. Okay, so from here, look. Now if we think about that drop down cross back to hook again that we did at the start, we can now add that into it. So from here, step in, back fist, drop cross, back hook up here. All right, great little combination. So, like I said, we're not doing any of these with power because we're working on technique. The power comes on the bag later, the power comes on the pads later. So we've got a load of our steps now, and we've got the basic movement. We're not doing anything overly complicated with the feet, but we're going to add one last little piece into this puzzle. Now again, a lot of people will remember this from the very basic level, sort of katas and things. All we're looking to do here is that step and turn. Now when we look to step and turn, we can go from the back, from the front leg here, bringing it round, we can go back leg. Okay, so how do we do it here? But what we're looking to do is incorporate this movement with the front leg. So from here, I'm stepping, turning. Now, when we look at this traditionally, quite often this goes into another linear movement. So as an example, maybe that would be we step, we turn, and we come into these kind of kicks here. But what I'm actually going to do with this is I'm going to step turn and use it for a circular movement, which is going to be turning back fist. So from here, step, turn into the back fist. Okay, so now what we're going to do is pull this together in a bit of a combination just for a bit of fun. Okay, so again, it's just nice things to practice, good to have to play with. All right, so what we're going to do from our stance, we're going to do that step through jab. Boom, we're going to do that shuffle forward, cross. Boom, here. We're going to throw a body hook, drop, throw a body. Then we're going to throw a head hook, boom. Now when we throw that head hook, we're going to step across with the lead leg. Here, turn into a spinning back fist. Okay, now we can step all the way through that if we want to. So from here we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, just something to play with. So when we do this on the bag, what we end up with here is 1, 2, 3, 4, remember step, and 5. Okay, once more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so it's just a few things to try. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're going to have a look at those, and maybe in the comments leave some of your own suggestions, because I want to try some new combinations as well.